Our in-depth coverage continuing for you now on the push to impeach President Trump after the deadly Capitol riot. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi telling fellow Democrats this afternoon the House will vote on Wednesday on an impeachment article co-drafted by Rhode Island Congressman David Cicilline.
And at 4 now, we're joined by 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi, who has been talking with our local lawmakers about the latest developments on Capitol Hill. Ted, so at this point, it's clear that unless the president resigns, the House will move forward now with impeaching the president for the second time.
Yeah, Brian, little doubt about that. And there are actually reports a handful of House Republicans, including Congresswoman Liz Cheney, the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, are discussing potentially voting to impeach the president this time. It's complicated, though, in part because of the calendar. Take a look at this. January 13th is Wednesday. That's when the House is now expected to vote to impeach. But the U.S. Senate doesn't reconvene until January 19th, which is therefore the earliest an impeachment trial would start in the Senate. And then Joe Biden is supposed to be inaugurated the next day. So Democrats are facing two questions. Should they convict the president after he leaves office? And should they listen to Republicans who say, take all this off the table because it's just getting the temperature too hot?
And Ted, I know just within the last hour or so, you spoke with Rhode Island's U.S. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse about some of these exact questions.
Yes, and I asked Senator Whitehouse straight up, what does he say to Republicans who argue this will only divide the country further?
I don't buy it. I think this is already the sort of CYA, I don't want to have to vote on this reflex happening. And I'm sorry. I love a lot of my Republican colleagues, but their discomfort in having to vote on this is simply not significant in the equation after a Capitol police officer was killed, another one has committed suicide, the Capitol building in which we serve has been ransacked, and the greatest republic in the world has had itself shamed in the eyes of the world by these ghastly images, by these idiot hoodlums.
So White House is among those saying this is actually one of the easiest votes he's ever had to decide on.
And Ted, one of the questions we are getting each day now, if the president is impeached and convicted, could he run again in 2024?
Yeah, I looked into that, and yes, even if the Senate convicts President Trump on an impeachment charge, he'd still be eligible to run in 2024 unless, and this is possible, a separate vote was taken to bar him from running for president again.
Our in-depth coverage of calls for President Trump's impeachment continues now. 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi joining me. And Ted, you've been talking with local lawmakers and their advisors all afternoon about what happens next. And from what you're hearing, this is all moving rather quickly.
Very quickly, Shannon, and it seems like it's on the fast track. I've seen a lot of explosive controversies during the Trump administration, but I don't think anything has shaken both political parties like a violent attack on the Capitol by the president's supporters as well as his own reaction to it. House Democrats have been on a caucus call all afternoon discussing their next move, and just within the last hour, Massachusetts Congressman Bill Keating, who represents New Bedford, broke away from the call to tell me he strongly supports this push.
In all my experience, I'll never have a more clear-cut vote than to vote yes. So it's not related to my past voting. You look at this situation as a unique one. Fortunately, it's unprecedented.
Think you and the Democratic caucus might win any Republican votes for this?
Who knows? I'll tell you this, they all should.
Not clear, though, whether any will. Just in the last hour, the GOP leader in the House, Kevin McCarthy, said he opposes impeachment, but he did float the idea of potentially voting to censure the president.
So it's in what word you're using and what path you're taking right
Exactly.
now. Right. Ted, thanks for the update. Rhode Island Congressman David Cicilline is one of the leaders of the impeachment drive, co-drafting a resolution charging the president with incitement of insurrection.
12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi joins us now live in studio with what happens next with President Trump set to leave office in 9 days. Ted?
Mike, Shannon, we are truly in unprecedented times here with a serious push to impeach a president days away from leaving office. It's a sign of just how shaken lawmakers are across the political spectrum after that attack on the Capitol last week. At this hour, House Democrats have said they will vote Wednesday to impeach the president, and it does appear they have the votes. In fact, even some Republicans are now reportedly considering a yes vote. Then it will be up to the U.S. Senate to hold a trial of the president. I spoke this afternoon with Rhode Island U.S. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who says he supports this impeachment push.
I think we've had just an extraordinary thing happen in our country's history, and the idea that we're just going to whistle and walk away from it would be dereliction. So the trial itself, I think, can be extremely quick. I'd be surprised if there's anybody who doesn't have a pretty good idea how they're going to vote on this.
I also spoke with Massachusetts Congressman Bill Keating, who represents New Bedford. He says Americans should consider how they would have viewed the attack if it had happened in the capital of a foreign country. Some are still hoping the president will resign or that Vice President Mike Pence will act to remove him. Ted Nesi, 12 News.